The glass doors of Westbridge Elite Motors whispered open, letting in a woman who looked wildly out of place among the gleaming metal and marble. She wore faded blue jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and sneakers that had clearly seen better days. The scent of motor oil and polished chrome hung in the air, mixing with the faint notes of her vanilla perfume. Elena Reyes, 34, paused for a moment, taking in the sight of vehicles most people would only ever see in magazines, a forest of gleaming chrome, leather interiors, and million-dollar dreams. She tucked a loose strand of chestnut hair behind her ear and approached the reception desk. "Good morning," she said with a small, polite smile. "I was hoping to look at the new Valkyrie coupe, the midnight blue one in your window." The man behind the counter barely lifted his eyes from his tablet. His name tag read Greg Turner, sales manager. His voice carried that smooth, practiced charm only found in luxury dealerships. "The Valkyrie?" He gave a quick, humorless laugh. "Ma'am, that's a limited edition model. Starts at $320,000. We generally handle viewings by appointment, for serious buyers." His gaze swept over her jeans, her t-shirt, her scuffed sneakers. His smile sharpened like glass. "You might find something more your style at our pre-owned lot down the street." The words hit like a slap, quiet, almost polite, but unmistakably cruel. Elena's lips parted slightly, but she didn't answer. She simply looked past him, through the glass walls, at the car she had come to see. It sat on a low platform under a spotlight, the metallic blue body shifting colors with every angle. She felt heat rise in her face, not from shame but from disbelief. "I understand," she said softly. Before Greg could respond, another voice broke in. "Good morning. Welcome to Westbridge Elite. I'm Ryan." A young salesman, maybe mid-20s, with a tie a bit too long and shoes that hadn't quite been broken in yet, approached her with genuine warmth. "The Valkyrie, huh? Beautiful choice. Let me show you a brochure." Greg's expression darkened. "It's fine, Ryan," he cut in smoothly. "I'll take care of this." Ryan hesitated. "Sir, I said I've got it." The older man stepped forward, lowering his voice so only Elena could hear. "Look, lady, I've been doing this for 20 years. You're not here to buy that car. Let's not waste each other's time." Elena met his eyes. Hers were steady, not angry, not pleading, just steady. "You'd be surprised what I'm here to do," she said quietly. Greg gave a dismissive chuckle. "Right. Sure. Well, as I said, the used lot's that way." He gestured lazily toward the door. The sound of heels clicking against the showroom floor drew both their attention. A glamorous couple walked in, designer clothes, diamonds glinting under the showroom lights. Greg's entire demeanor transformed in an instant. "Mr. and Mrs. Harrington. What a pleasure," he exclaimed, rushing to greet them with a smile so bright it bordered on worship. Elena watched as he guided them straight to the Valkyrie coupe, the same car he'd told her was by appointment only. Ryan lingered beside her, awkwardly shifting his weight. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "He shouldn't have spoken to you that way." She smiled faintly. "It's okay, Ryan. It happens a lot more than it should." While the young salesman tried to explain the car's specs, Greg continued his performance across the room. He opened the car door for Mrs. Harrington with a flourish. "This one's practically art," he gushed. "There's an 8-month waiting list, but for our preferred clients." Elena stepped closer, her voice calm but clear. "Excuse me," she said, addressing him. "I'd still like to see the interior of that car." Greg froze, then turned, irritation flickering behind his professional smile. "As I mentioned," he said through clenched teeth, "this vehicle is being shown to these clients." "I won't be long," Elena replied evenly. "It's for my sister's birthday next month." His patience snapped. "Listen," he hissed, lowering his voice. "I get it. People like to dream. But this isn't a photo booth. That car costs more than most homes. I have real customers to attend to. Conversation in the showroom slowed, curious eyes turned their way. Elena clasped her hands, steady but firm. I can pay cash today, she said. Greg laughed, a short, sharp sound that echoed through the hall. Cash? This isn't a yard sale, ma'am. People who can afford these cars don't walk in here dressed like that. Her cheeks flushed, but her eyes didn't waver. My money spends the same as anyone else's, she said quietly. Enough, Greg snapped, stepping closer. Either make an appointment like a serious buyer or leave. Blake, Mr. Harrington murmured nervously, but Greg ignored him. By now, everyone in the showroom was watching. Even Ryan stood frozen near the service desk, caught between his conscience and his boss's authority. I believe this conversation is over, Greg declared. Elena straightened her shoulders. You're right, she said softly. It is. She turned and walked toward the doors, the silence behind her louder than the echo of her footsteps. As the glass doors hissed shut, Greg muttered just loud enough for the nearest employees to hear, some people really don't know their place. Outside, the morning sun hit Elena's face like a spotlight. The humiliation burned, but beneath it, something colder, sharper, a quiet determination. She reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone, and made a call. Hi, can you let Andrew know I'll be home soon? She said. Her voice was calm, almost serene. And tell him I found the perfect gift for Caroline after all. She hung up, slipped her phone away, and looked back through the glass wall where Greg still laughed with his clients. Her reflection overlapped with the luxury cars inside, a simple woman framed against a world built on judgment. A faint smile touched her lips. Tomorrow, she murmured, let's see who's really in the wrong place. She turned, climbed into her modest silver sedan, and drove off, leaving behind a showroom that had no idea its lesson was already on the way. By the time Elena pulled into the curved driveway of her home, the morning sting had dulled into something quieter, heavier. The Reyes estate sat on several acres outside Boston, modern glass, clean lines, surrounded by quiet woods that muffled the world beyond. She parked her car beside a shimmering black Tesla and stepped inside. Hey, you're home early, came a voice from upstairs. Her husband, Andrew Reyes, appeared on the staircase, barefoot, his shirt sleeves rolled up. At 41, Andrew had the calm, easy confidence of someone who didn't need to prove anything anymore. A quiet genius in renewable technology, his name had become synonymous with innovation and with wealth, though few would ever guess it from his demeanor. He saw her face and immediately set down the tablet in his hand. Something happened. Elena exhaled, walking toward the kitchen island. Something did, she said, forcing a small smile. It was educational. Andrew tilted his head, waiting. She told him everything, the cold dismissal, the sneering laughter, the way Greg Turner had spoken to her as if she were invisible. Every word poured out, steady but tight, like water pressing against a dam. When she finished, Andrew leaned against the counter, his expression unreadable. And you said nothing? Oh, I said a few things, she replied dryly. But the man was convinced I'd mistaken his dealership for a daydream. Silence settled between them for a moment. Through the tall windows, sunlight filtered over the marble floor, throwing fractured reflections on the cabinets. It's not about me, she said finally. I can afford to laugh it off. But how many people walk into places like that every day and get treated like they don't belong? Because they don't look the part? Andrew's jaw tightened slightly. He'd seen that expression on her face before, the same one that had pushed her to start her nonprofit for children with disabilities 15 years earlier. She didn't get angry often, but when she did, it was the kind that built things, not burned them. So, he asked quietly, what do you want to do about it? I want them to understand, she said. Not just the manager, all of them. The people watching, the ones laughing, the ones pretending they didn't see. He smiled faintly. You don't want revenge. I want awareness, she corrected. And maybe a little perspective. Andrew was silent for a long moment, the kind of silence that meant he was thinking deeply. Then he nodded, slowly, decisively. I might have an idea. She raised an eyebrow. Nothing dramatic, I hope. Of course not, he said, the corner of his mouth twitching. I'm not planning to buy the entire dealership just to make a point. That's exactly what you were thinking. He laughed softly. Maybe. But no, something better. Something instructive. Elena crossed her arms, intrigued despite herself. I'm listening. Andrew leaned in, lowering his voice as if the walls themselves might overhear. Let's say someone, hypothetically, walked into Westbridge Elite tomorrow morning. Someone who looks the part. Tailored suit, polished shoes, the kind of car that makes people stand up straight when it rolls in. And let's say that person asked for Greg Turner by name. Elena's brow arched. And this hypothetical someone would be. He smiled. A very serious buyer. Maybe interested in the same car you were. Her lips parted in surprise. Andrew. Hear me out, he interrupted gently. He goes in, asks for the Valkyrie coupe, says his wife was here the day before. Let's see how quickly Mr. Turner remembers you then. Elena studied him, torn between amusement and admiration. You're enjoying this a little too much. Maybe, he admitted, but think of it as moral calibration. She laughed softly, shaking her head. You're impossible. Effective, he corrected with a grin. That night, while Elena reviewed charity reports on her tablet, Andrew made a few quiet phone calls. By midnight, his plan was in motion. The next morning dawned sharp and clear. The Westbridge showroom gleamed under the sunlight, each car meticulously positioned under spotlights like precious jewels. Greg Turner was in excellent spirits. He adjusted his tie in the glass reflection, smirking to himself. Yesterday's incident had already turned into an office joke, a story about the woman who thought she could buy a six-figure car in sneakers. During the morning briefing, he reminded his staff, we cater to a very specific clientele. If someone doesn't fit the profile, don't waste your time. Efficiency, not charity. Ryan, standing at the edge of the group, said nothing. The young salesman's stomach twisted with unease, but he kept his eyes down. At precisely 10:15, the low, velvet purr of an engine made every head turn. A Rolls-Royce Phantom extended, midnight blue with chrome accents, glided to a stop outside the glass doors. Greg's smirk faltered. Even he had to admit, it was a showstopper. The chauffeur stepped out, immaculate in white gloves, and opened the back door with precision. From the car emerged Andrew Reyes, every inch the portrait of understated power. His navy suit fit perfectly, his silver cufflinks caught the light, and his calm, confident stride seemed to quiet the entire showroom. Greg was already moving forward, rehearsing his most charming smile. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Westbridge Elite Motors, he said smoothly, extending a hand. Greg Turner, sales manager. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Andrew shook his hand firmly. Andrew Reyes. I'm here to look at a specific vehicle, the Valkyrie coupe, midnight blue. Greg's grin widened. Ah, excellent choice, sir. One of only 15 in existence this year. You've got a good eye. I know, Andrew replied evenly. My wife was here yesterday to see it. Greg blinked, unsure he'd heard correctly. Your wife? Yes, Andrew said, his tone calm but deliberate. Wearing jeans and a white t-shirt. You told her she might be more comfortable at the used car lot. The color drained from Greg's face. Behind him, Ryan's eyes went wide. He swallowed hard but said nothing. I think there's been some misunderstanding, Mr. Reyes, Greg stammered, his voice cracking just slightly. I deal with many customers every day. Andrew tilted his head, his expression cool but not cruel. Of course. But I only wanted to confirm something. Confirm, what, sir? That you remember her. Because I certainly do. The air in the showroom went still. Even the hum of the air conditioner seemed to pause. Before Greg could scramble for an answer, the dealership's owner, Richard Holbrook, appeared from his office, drawn by the tension in the room. Mr. Reyes, he said warmly, offering a handshake. Welcome to Westbridge. What seems to be the issue? Andrew turned to him, polite but direct. No issue. Just a small test of perspective. And as the staff looked on, realization began to dawn across their faces that the man standing before them wasn't just another wealthy customer. He was there to hold up a mirror.